Well, another company that reported this week was online marketplace Carsales. Its net profit lifted 22% to about $75 million in the half year. This was due to strong demand for cars globally as consumers shun public transport for safety reasons in the pandemic environment. Revenue was up 22% to $242 million, driven higher by used car prices, which increased due to supply chain issues and microchip shortages. It lifted its dividend by half a cent to 25.5 cents a share. Joining me now is Carsales Chief Executive Cameron McIntyre. Cameron, great to have you on the show. I just want to start with that increase in demand for used vehicles. Is that all down to the pandemic and people avoiding public transport?
Yeah, Ed, I think certainly that is an absolute catalyst. So pandemic, people avoid public transport. I think the other elements to it are also closed borders, border restrictions. People can't take the interstate or the international holidays, so they've gone back into cars and gone back into camping and all those other lifestyle things that people once used to do a lot more of. People have done more of in the last 2 years, so that's certainly been a driver as well.
Yeah, you mentioned those supply chain issues with shipping. There's the computer chip shortage as well. Is that really forcing people to buy second-hand cars instead of brand new vehicles?
Yeah, so the chip shortages are absolutely one of the major issues. The other major issues are just around freight and shipping and getting stock into markets. But that's a clear driver. So people can't wait for 12 months to get their new car. So therefore, they're buying a second-hand car. And any car that someone buys is a new car to them, whether it's a dealer used car or a private seller used car or a demonstrator. It's still a new car to them because it's on their driveway. But that there has been certainly substitution between new and used, just so people can get into the car they want sooner.
And how strongly have used car prices jumped over the past year? And if consumers are paying more, does that just show how much savings Australians have in their bank accounts at the moment?
Yeah, no, it's a really great question. So, by our records, we look at prices over the last 12 months, and they are up somewhere between sort of 10 and 14%. But since the pandemic started, they're up probably between 30 and 40, and it just really depends on the make and model that you're talking about. But that clearly has been problematic for some people. But the savings rates that people have, I think, have shielded people, and people have been prepared to pay a little bit more to get that car that they're after today. Hopefully we'll see over the coming 6 to 12 months that the prices will plateau off, but certainly they've been quite hefty over the past 2 years.
Australian revenue up about 17% in the half. What are some of the top selling models on your platform at the moment? Yeah, I mean, people are moving into utes. So we see a lot of people moving into that, and small to medium and large SUVs. The average consumer is probably moving more out of sedans and more into SUVs, and that's been a trend that we've seen over many years. And you certainly see a lot more utes on the road these days than what you once did. So those larger vehicles have tended to be where the consumer's been at over the last sort of several years. And I've heard four-wheel drives, like Land Cruisers in particular, are they really going up massively in price?
Yeah, I mean, everything's going up in price, I guess, but certainly some of the larger SUVs have seen some pretty big price increases. And when you think about the reasons underlying that, as we mentioned a minute ago, people not being able to travel overseas, they'll take that country holiday, or they'll go four-wheel driving into the Highlands, and you really need something that you can tow a caravan with, or a boat to get you there. So of course those larger SUVs are very popular.
And of course, you don't just sell cars online, you do have bikes, boats, trucks and caravans. How does the demand for those products compare with cars?
Yeah, I mean, it's again with the pandemic, like people have moved back into car ownership, people have moved into owning leisure assets again. So the demand for caravans has been very strong. The demand for boats has been very strong. The demand for personal watercraft and motorbikes has been strong as well. So people haven't been able to travel, so therefore they're buying a boat or they're buying a caravan and spending their time closer to home. So as a result, we've seen the same sort of conditions in those other vertical markets as we've seen in cars. So shortage on supply because of component and chip issues, and freight and so on, but high consumer demand too.
And how strong is the competition in the Australian market right now when you look at Gumtree and Facebook Marketplace selling vehicles as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a very competitive market. In this country, we have a number of competitors, whether they be those that you mentioned or many others. So, I mean, for us, we tend to stay focused on what our customers need and what consumers are after, and the competition's always going to be there.
Cameron McIntyre, CEO of Carsales, thanks for your time.
Great to talk, Ed. Thank you.